escaping government-sponsored race-based discrimination, including racially discriminatory property confiscation. Y'all, remember when he was trashing the Haitian immigrants? What he's saying is, hey, all of you white people from South Africa, welcome home to the United States, Matt.
Hey, I mean, do we need any more proof? Do we need any more proof that Donald J. Trump and his administration, just this alone, bro, we don't have to talk about everything else in this past couple of days. He does not care about black or brown people whatsoever. It's not even up for discussion at this point. All right, so I got a question for you. Do you value your privacy and your security? And especially with all your information being accessible to anyone and everyone on the internet? Well, I'm excited to bring to you today's sponsor of this video, Aura. There was approximately 800,000 reports of identity theft in the first 3 quarters of 2024 alone. Credit card fraud remains the most prevalent form of identity theft, with about 300,000 cases reported. And the United States continues to experience numerous of data breaches throughout various industries, compromising your financial and personal information, just like millions across America. Aura is the all-in-one digital security solution that protects your identity, finances, and personal information online. With Aura, you get real-time alerts for suspicious activity, VPN protection to keep your browsing private, and even dark web monitoring just to see if your information is out there where it shouldn't be. So once again, stop leaving yourself vulnerable to data breaches. Click the sponsor link down below to get 14 days free to see if your information, your data has been exposed. Back to the video. All right, so can we be 100% honest now? Like, it should be no more discussion. Like, it should not be anyone who is seeing what's happening and tell somebody in good faith, not being disingenuous. We know there's Trump supporters and they're just going to deny the face that they have. Like, they'll deny the man in the mirror. So we're not talking about them, but we're talking about everybody else. We cannot no more say that Trump is not racist, or the acts or the executive orders or the decisions that he's making is based off race. That is not up for discussion no more. Like, when it comes to the 3 things that we're going to talk about now. One is the executive orders to save white South Africans. Like, we're going to get into it, but if you understand the details, why? When it comes to the whole reparations for DEI victims, who is that going to? White folks who were quote unquote victims of DEI. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go through the the executive order. I thought this was fake. When I read this, I was not sure. But for sure enough, and once you dig a little deeper, you'll kind of see, you'll kind of understand the motives of it. But it says, on February 7th, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order titled Addressing Egregious Actions of the Republic of South Africa. This order halts all U.S. aid to South Africa, citing the country's Expropriation Act, which allows the seizures of private properties without compensation in certain circumstances. The Trump administration criticized this law as discriminatory against white Afrikaner farmers. Once again, if you don't understand the history of South Africa, you'll be like, why? Why would they do that? Once again, dig a little deeper, you'll kind of see the common denominator in all of his decisions. Let me scroll down. It says, the executive order directed the U.S. to prioritize the settlement of Afrikaners facing unjust racial discrimination as refugees. So Trump, I mean, hear me out. Trump can look at a situation on the other side of the world and say, that's racial discrimination. We need to do something about that. And if we can't, if the sanctions and stopping all aid to South Africa is not enough, we need to now take these white Afrikaners over here as refugees and get them settled here. But he doesn't understand that for any other country that has to do with black and brown folks being racially discriminated against. I mean, even in our own country. But he doesn't understand what DEI and what that's supposed to confiscate in terms of racial discrimination against black and brown folks. I mean, he doesn't understand that, but he understands it when it has to do discrimination against white folks. Once again, I don't think he's that dumb. I think he knows what he's doing. We can't make excuses for him no more. There's more. Hold on. The South African government has refuted the allegations, asserting that the Expropriation Act aims to address historical land ownership disparities stemming from the apartheid era. Hey, that's an important part right there. If you don't know that, if you at least don't know the basics of that situation, you're going to be all lost with this. You're going to be confused. They have also criticized the U.S. decision to cut aid, emphasizing that Afrikaners remain amongst the most economically privileged group in the country. Hey, once again, and I might just get this tattooed on my forehead. If you understand the origins of something, you will understand the effects of something. You know what I'm saying? You can't just look at a headline and say that white folks in South Africa are being discriminated against and not understand the origins of something. I mean, it just seems like Trump doesn't like anything, any laws, any legislation, anything that has to do against white people. But when it comes to black and brown folks, I mean, just work a little harder, right? I mean, things aren't that bad, right?
I'll tell you what this white supremacist is doing, y'all. This white supremacist has now signed executive order, signed sanctions against South Africa for their recent land seizure bill. He's ordering all aid to South Africa be halted, and he's ordering federal agencies to prioritize humanitarian relief and admission to the United States for Afrikaner refugees. So what Donald Trump is saying is, and remember, Elon Musk tweeted this a couple days ago, we need to bring these white South Africans to the United States. And just so everybody knows, Zachary, do you know 3 of the biggest billionaires supporting Donald Trump? Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, all 3 white children of apartheid.
And that right there deserves its own deep dive. Oh my goodness. Once again, I'm not big into conspiracies, but if you look, even just with Elon Musk, which they're going to get into, if you dig a little deeper of that situation and the executive order that Trump has put in against South Africa, it just seems a little shady. Hey, once again, not really big into conspiracies, but if it look like, if it sound like, if I mean, come on now, if it smell like, I'm just saying.
That's shocking that in the same week that our president and our government decided to deny continuing to fund humanitarian aid and relief to the people of Gaza, a land that he got on a national stage and said that he wanted to take over to further colonize. He is now also saying that he wants to give financial recompensation to Afrikaners in South Africa.
This is what it says, Matt. The United States cannot support the government of South Africa's commission of rights violations in its country or its undermining United States foreign policy, which poses national security threats to our nation, our allies, our African partners, and our interest. Huh? Exactly how is South Africa actually doing that?
And that's the thing. That is, once again, when you're reading a lot of these executive orders, which if you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. I seriously don't know what you're doing. It's always phrased in the sense of it's a national security threat. It's a security threat to the American people, to the democracy, to the U.S. Like, it's always phrased like that. And then, of course, the dummies who just read that top portion there or some article like, oh, I guess it's a threat to U.S. citizens. It's a national security threat to us. So, like, he has to do this, right? I mean, like, why else would he want to slap sanctions and stop U.S. aid going to South Africa? It's like they have to be treating these white South Africans like slaves or something, right? I mean, national security threat. That's all you got to say to some of these rednecks out there, and like nothing else matters. Come on now.
And so, again, he lays out in here policy. It is the policy of the United States that as long as South Africa continues these unjust and immoral practices that harm our nation. Whoa, I'm sorry. How does South Africa's land law harm us? The United States shall not provide aid or assistance to South Africa, and the United States shall promote the resettlement of Afrikaner refugees escaping government-sponsored race-based discrimination, including racially discriminatory property confiscation. Y'all, remember when he was trashing the Haitian immigrants? What he's saying is, hey, all you white people from South Africa, welcome home to the United States, Matt.
Hey, I mean, do we need any more proof? Do we need any more proof that Donald J. Trump and his administration, just this alone, bro, we don't have to talk about everything else in his past couple of days. He does not care about black or brown people whatsoever. It's not even up for discussion at this point. If anybody raises any question like, well, I don't think, maybe not, they are a Trump supporter or they're just effing stupid. One of the two, or both, because Trump supporters are just brain dead individuals that probably eat rocks for dinner at this point. So, no, I don't even want to ever have a single conversation with anyone else determining or trying to figure out if Trump is racist or not. No, it's a done deal. Is the sun shining? You know what I'm saying? Does the wind blow? Is water wet? Is Trump racist? I mean, as long as water is going to be wet, Trump is going to be racist. That's simple.
How are 334 million people being held hostage by two dudes? That's what's happening right now. Like, seriously, how does South Africa's land law affect us at all? Beyond that, if the 3 billionaires supporting you are all South African, why are we surprised by that? Like, I don't understand this. I do not understand this, because if this happened on a much smaller level, the response to this would be overwhelming and would be violent. Let's be honest. If two dudes came onto a block and tried to tell the people who live there how they were going to live, they would get forced off. And I understand he's the elected president of the United States, but I cannot understand this. How are we sitting here trying to apply rationalization to the patently irrational? What is the response beyond revolution? I don't understand it. Like, seriously, what do we do? because it does not make sense to me that two people are holding an entire country hostage in a country that purports to have a history of standing up against tyrants. This is patent tyranny. I mean, I don't understand what we do beyond taking different action, because I don't understand how we're at this point, and I don't understand how we're all allowing it to continually being pushed out the bounds, right? That's why all these executive orders are coming out. It's all about testing the law and seeing how far you can go, and the courts are not going to respond quickly enough. I don't understand like how this is happening and how we're watching it happen in real time and we're not responding differently.
Well, a few things. One, this is what a democracy is all about. Okay, like I know that's a weird kind of answer, but in a democracy, the people vote. Now, once again, I know we can get deeper into that conversation. Is this really a democracy? Okay, hey, but what is supposed to happen, and if you read the Constitution, if you understand what our founding fathers tried to put in places, once again, I know everything wasn't perfect. That's a whole nother conversation. The people are supposed to be, who are voting, informed in understanding the individuals that they're voting for. That's the one key that's missing in all of that. Back then, like, people were a little bit more informed what was going on. I mean, even 20 years from that, 20 years ago, people were more informed. I mean, just with the evolution of social media and everything. But that's the one key thing. So when people voted for Trump, they were misinformed. Oh, he's not going to really do that. Like Stephen A. Smith. Oh, he's just saying that. He's not going to really, he's just, causing some ruckus. He's just talking crazy. He's just trying to get the votes. But once he gets into office, he's going to be presidential. It's going to be business as usual. He's going to get food prices down. He's going to put money in people's pockets. And people voted for him. In a democracy, if people are informed, at least to a better degree than what we are now, then we won't vote for such a horrible person into office. We wouldn't vote for literal racists to be in office. And all his oligarchy friends just doing whatever they want. So it's not democracy's fault. It's the voters' fault. There you go. Hey.
First of all, it's happening, and this is for all of you folks, FBA, B1 or not, who sat here and said, oh, y'all are shills, y'all are all in the pocket of the Democrats, y'all are all covering up. And so, oh, he's going to make America great again. And so what happens? Casey loses in Pennsylvania. Sherrod Brown loses in Ohio. Okay? That's two seats right there. Then you have the other losses. So the Democrats lost the Senate. You had political gerrymandering in North Carolina. Those 3 seats in North Carolina, that's how Republicans have the majority in the House. And so you have no lever of government that can actually hold them accountable. Because the Republicans, they ain't saying nothing. And they're not going to say anything.
No, they're encouraging it.
Yes. They're not going to say a word.
Yeah, and many of them are cowards. Many of them are afraid of Donald Trump. They're afraid of the 1,500 domestic terrorists that Donald Trump gave a pardon to and released. But let me just tie a few threads together. This makes perfect sense. The reason why, if you go back, I think it was 2018 when Donald Trump was president before.
He wanted white folks to come in.
He said, why are we having people come from S-hole countries like Haiti and things like this? He said, why can't we have more people come from countries like Norway? Okay. He wanted to increase the.
And I had people, crazy enough, I had people tell me, like hearing their voice, like not through messaging, tell me when Trump said, why are we bringing people from shithole countries and not people from Denmark or Norway? And tell me That wasn't racist. Man, they will make every single excuse for racist people. I learned, if I learned anything through this YouTube journey, is that racist people will always defend their own people. Anytime someone is defending a straight out racist person or a racist action or statement, 9 times out of 10, they can smile all they want. They can say all the nice things that they want, but they're racist. That's simple. You don't defend people like that. There's no reason to, unless you have your own reason.
Numbers of white immigrants coming to this country. He talked about in October 2024, I think it was, he put out a video. This is leading up to the November election. He put out a video saying that he would give reparations in this country to white people that were harmed when it came to discriminatory practices in the United States. Okay. When he was president before, he accused South Africa of taking land from the white South Afrikaners at the same time. This is the same accusation he's making against Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa. He just made that accusation a few days ago, and Ramaphosa said we're not doing that. So he doesn't need evidence. He just puts the lie out and then puts this out. And after they cut USAID, after they shut down USAID, okay, and for those who say we shouldn't give humanitarian aid to other countries, that's less than 1% of federal spending. Okay, that's only about $40 billion. Federal spending, annual federal spending is $6 trillion for those that don't understand math. USAID was instrumental in dismantling apartheid in South Africa. Now you got this white supremacist, at one point, illegal immigrant, according to his brother, Elon Musk. And now many people think Elon Musk is the real president. Now they put sanctions on South Africa and they want to bring white South Africans here. This makes perfect sense. And if I wish Dr. Greg Carr was on this show right now, he'll give a whole dissertation. This is the white nationalism, not white nationalism and Christian white nationalism. This is a white supremacist wet dream come true. This makes perfect sense.
But again, Zachary, numerous times I laid out on this show. I'm sorry. Not even just on this show. Just real simple. Everything that's going on, every single thing that's going on.
There it is.
I laid out right here. I tried to explain it to people.
Yep.
First of all, in 2009, when I was waiting to go on CNN with John Avlon, I laid out in the book, John and I were talking, and I said, John, I want you to understand something. We're living in the beginning stages of white minority resistance. He was like, the same John Avlon who's now in Congress. He's like, Roland, what do you mean? I said, well, white America, even though they represent a majority of the country, at that time, I think the number was 63, 67, I forgot what it was. I said to him, I said, they are about to lose their minds. I said, they are about to show their true colors. They are about to go crazy because they cannot handle 2043 when America is going to become a nation that's majority people of color.
Hey, that's simple. That's simple right there. And I'm going to do a separate video for the next portion because then they go to a different subject, which I think just ties into what they're talking about. Even like old boy said, like this is a white supremacist wet dream right here. Like if they could just wish upon a star, like this is what they would wish right here. A racist billionaire who can pretty much do what he wants behind the scenes, and a racist president that will continue to allow whatever happens. Do we need to say any more? Can we all agree right now? Hey, tell me in the comments that Trump is a racist. And all these executive orders, which I extremely hate, because that's the only way he could get anything passed. He can't do it like a real president and get Congress to come together and create legislation. No, he has to do it the easy way. And like they say, he's just gonna continue to push these out. So the courts is gonna be a backlog at this point. So all these and people knew as soon as he got elected, when someone is racist, they're going to create racist legislation. They're going to create racist laws and actions, because that's all they know. You can't tell a duck to act like a fish. That's not how that works. You can't tell someone who is racist at heart to become president and then treat every American as equal. It can't happen like that. So when people just like disregarded every crazy thing that he said as just like he's just doing it for entertainment and didn't just realize for 1 second, if he's being honest and if this is what he wants to do, how would he do as president? If you took what he said as truth, how could he govern over half the population that's not white? Is it possible? No, it is not. And we're seeing that in real time. But once again, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below, or hit that Discord button so me and you can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.